Good morning, everybody. Today is Friday, October 3rd, 2014. And this is For the First Cup with Jules, Zorie, and Lady Pitbull here on UCY.TV. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
I think Lady Pitbull shows that she's having a problem getting on this call. You know, I think she had some freaky things happening with her computer again yesterday. So
Oh, no.
she has not been reinfected with the virus. So, how you doing this morning, Zorie?
Oh, slowly waking up. Was
Yeah.
up late. Yeah, and then just looking at the news. God, everywhere you look, it's all about the Ebola and stuff.
Yeah, actually, they changed, though. They actually changed gears. I was laying in bed thinking last night, wow, how convenient we haven't seen a word about Syria. But I guess this morning there was all kinds of stuff, schools blown up and whatever. So Syria is back in the picture.
I know. God. It's just, one day it'll be kind of mellow, the news, and the next day it's just like bombarding you with
Typically,
so
it's the
much.
weekend that's quiet. If you pay attention to the cycle, like today, it should be all right. Friday, going out of the week. Anything that's big, they kind of keep under the covers, or they kind of slip it in between things where you're not going to notice. But Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, at least for video uploads, the news channels don't put out a lot. Monday through Thursday, and I think Thursday is usually the blitz.
Oh, well, I don't know. I think they're changing the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The first 12 headlines on the Drudge is all about Ebola, about the CDC lying, and saying we can't shut down our borders. It's just.
Yeah, but I mean, Drudge is just catching up now. We've been on this for months, and if you take a look at my Ebola playlist, you'll see that.
Yeah.
That wasn't yesterday's news. That was already a couple days ago's news that he's reporting now.
Yeah, that's true, too. I'm a little bit
we
behind,
were
too.
talking about the vomiting, and I didn't hear that come up until way later yesterday afternoon, but that was from like the night before, so.
Yeah, they are about a day or so behind. Yeah, it's I don't know. The fact that we're still not doing nothing about the border, it's just mind-boggling to me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't even want to leave my house. I'm not going to go to a mall or anything like that. You don't know who you're going to be coming in contact with.
Well, here's even better than that. So I see a clip that came out last night, probably a few hours ago, and it's absolutely correct about LA, where a lot of the rich people don't vaccinate their kids at all. And not that I'm for vaccination, because I'm not, and especially if you spend your time and effort looking into what some of these new vaccines are made with and how they're made with the RNAi technology, or even with the last generation with the squalene adjuvants and whatever, you're going to be thinking twice about that, or even like the HPV vaccine with those virus-like patented particles that are in them. So I don't blame them for not getting their kids vaccinated, but when you have a large area of people who are not vaccinated, that can cause you some real problems. And this clip was saying that how LA has a lower vaccination rate than places like Liberia in Africa.
Yeah, that's a hard decision, too. I mean, with this coming out, but yet knowing the facts about what's in our vaccines and the damage they've done, it's a hard call.
Well, and here's even the scariest part. So the secret serum, that saved some of those doctors that came over that were infected with Ebola. I thought I had caught the doctor when they asked her on TV, when they said, well, are they going to give the dude out of Duncan out of Texas the vaccine? And I thought I'd caught her saying, oh, well, there isn't any left. They did a big expose on that yesterday at dinner time. There isn't any left, apparently. It won't be now for a few months before they can ramp it up. Now, here's what gets me. I've been watching this so closely. The technology that they've been using on this is the one that was funded by DARPA. They had done all the research at Texas A&M University, and originally it was for the Blue Angel program that was going to make the universal flu vaccine. And that's actually what they told us about in that FEMA class 8 years ago, was the universal flu vaccine.
Wow.
It's since morphed, and the reason it was universal was because it was using this RNAi technology. It's all using the same technology. See? So now that they got it working, they can have the tobacco produce this or the tobacco produce that, and then they
Right.
suck the genes out of this, and then they put the genes in for that. They can make anything they want. So what I don't get is that they have all these facilities ramped up. I was looking yesterday. I think it was that Techmira has their whole Kentucky facility all ramped up, pumping out antigens from the tobacco. And remember, Philip Morris and R.J. Reynolds are all involved now, right? We talked
Yeah.
about this. Big Tobacco, the DoD and DARPA and Big Pharma all joining hands and singing Kumbaya to save the world. How nice is that? But all of a sudden, out of the blue, like we had investigated this when Ebola first hit the headlines as to what all the pipelines were for these big vaccine manufacturers, and they all had Ebola and stuff sitting in the pipeline waiting for human trials. They started human trials at Oxford University 2 weeks ago. And now you're going to tell me, now that
they
it
don't
hits
have
the
any.
U.S. shores, now they go,
Right.
oh, we don't have any.
All these, yeah, everyone that's so involved, and now there's none. It's just,
And we were all prepared. I mean, I'm going to call absolute, utter, total bullshit on that. Total
yeah,
bullshit. Now, like I was saying to Wendy yesterday, even though there's no vaccine, not that I'd be lining up to take the vaccine, no, but people will do things when their family members are bleeding out. I mean, I think that
right.
lots of people would take it. And here's the scariest part. So I was reading some stuff on it yesterday, and it was saying that the Ebola vaccine that they were working on, the one that they had already had in trials, that they'd
Hmm.
been trialing on primates before they injected them into those first doctors, and now into the Oxford trials, that they had been using it as a prophylaxis that had been working quite well, which is pre-Ebola,
Yeah.
giving it as a preventative. And one of the other things that they were working on, and that's what I'm wondering if that's what they're going to do right now, because this was something that they were still trialing, was to see how late in the process they could give you the Ebola vaccine and have you survive.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know. Just saying. I was reading that yesterday.
Wow. You know, and you can't believe anything that's coming out of their mouths anymore. It's just, they all
No,
contradict
I
each
believe
other.
that stuff, but see, you can believe when you have sources that you vetted. I don't just read any willy-nilly bullshit I find online, okay? I look at
Hmm.
where it comes from, and if I don't know the source, then I'm not reading it. If I don't know who is writing it, then I'm not reading it. If I don't know that it's a science publication, I'm not reading it. If I don't understand the science, I'm going to research the science before I can distinguish what they're saying in the article. So, yes, I can believe what I read.
Yeah.
You can't read bullshit, and you can't just believe everything you read. You got to do your own research. You can't be a lazy reader, because then you're going to get garbage.
Hmm. Yeah, there was this one article that caught my eye through the AJC.com. A doctor in Atlanta. Um, let's see, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. 2 days after a man in Texas was diagnosed with Ebola, a Missouri doctor Thursday morning showed up at Atlanta's Hartsfield Jackson International Airport dressed in protective gear to protest what he called mismanagement of the crisis by the Federal Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. And, you know, they still aren't saying anything about, you know, the flights coming in from Africa. That's what I don't get.
Well, what we didn't get to yesterday was looking at the paltry way that they're testing people. And after we got off the air yesterday, the UN had actually come out and said exactly what we had been saying all along, is that with these mutations happening 300 times per person as it's passing from person to person, there's a really good chance that one of those mutations, if it hasn't already mutated to airborne, will make it airborne. And I believe we listened to that 1989 clip of when there was the Ebola breakout in the United States before in the lab, and it was airborne.
Mm-hmm.
It had gotten into the monkeys' noses through the air vents. So it's already been airborne. So I really don't see where they're just so absolutely positive that nobody on any of these planes are in any freaking danger. And what's so funny, too, is like after we had talked about all this stuff yesterday morning, I saw on CNN, they were talking about how they disinfect the planes now. You know, we were saying yesterday about,
Yeah.
you know, who knows how long. Wolf had also said that he was questioning somebody about how long it lives outside the body, and they're like, well, it doesn't live really long time, but a few hours. And you had
Yeah.
brought up about the money, and that's still a really good point. If it's a few hours and you're in a busy place, like you're in Grand Central Station, you're in a big airport somewhere where cash is changing hands quickly at kiosks or whatever, I'd be really worried about that.
Right.
And
And
you're
then you're
with
getting
tons
into a
of
plane that you're going on a 5 or 6 hour flight, you
Well,
know.
but here's the thing. You go to the airport where you have people from all over the world, especially an international hub, and people are like buying snacks or whatever. Bing 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 bing.
Hmm.
At these little places that are inside the security gates, right? Because you can't bring
Right.
anything in. I had to dump like massive those big liter bottles, brand new cold water, two of them, and of course they were. Oh, I'm trying to remember. I think it was
$5 a
Chicago
bottle of
O'Hare,
water.
yeah, $5 or $6 a piece. And we get to the security gates, we hadn't even cracked them open yet, and they made me throw them in the garbage. I was so pissed.
Yeah.
I actually had a bit of a temper tantrum at the gate. I dropped some F bombs, and everybody's looking at me. I'm like, "Are you ever kidding me?" I'm like, "Why are you drink them then? What a fucking waste!" I was so mad. $10 or more of water, and I had to
Hmm.
throw them in the garbage. And I mean, they were obviously not even cracked open, and you had just seen me buy them over there.
Right.
Um, but once you're inside the security gates and you can go buy your, Nana's pretzel or whatever it is, and your apple, and you hand him a $5 bill, and then the guy comes in behind you and he gives her a $10 bill and gets your $5 bill and change. And I mean,
Hmm.
that's going on the whole time before people are getting on planes, and that's way more than. I mean, that's way less than a few hours between the time I touched it with my sneezy, pukey hand and the time you touched it with your sneezy, pukey hand.
Right.
I would
Yeah.
absolutely say that there was the possibility of being able to transmit it over cash.
Hmm.
Now,
And then if it
again,
is airborne, look at all those people mingling and coming in contact. This is so
well, that's what we've been
scary.
saying all
Hmm.
this time, though. I mean, there were the reports of all the doctors dying that they already were saying they think it's airborne because a lot of those doctors didn't even have contact with Ebola patients.
Yeah. So, uh,
Remember, too, we played something a couple of days ago about it living in semen for days, weeks,
hmm.
weeks, if the person recovers.
Yeah, it's man, you just I don't know, I'm at a loss. My mind just keeps traveling so fast at all the possibilities, and then you don't get anything concrete, not really. This is all we think. We think.
Well, here's my thing. This has been something I've been thinking about for over 30 years. And I guess at this point, and here's the thing, for as much as you could prepare, you can't prepare.
Right.
There's no way to prepare. And it was like, this is bad, but think about Fukushima. Think about those of us who actually understood the ramifications of Fukushima day one. like me.
Mhm.
I was in a corner rocking, bawling my eyes out. You know why? Because there's nowhere to run, there's nowhere to hide, there's no way to protect all your food or all your air or anything. And that was another one. Who would have ever thought massive nuclear meltdown, triple, on the jet stream coming at us? How would you
Mhm.
prepare for that?
There
You
is no
wouldn't.
preparation,
No, you
and
wouldn't.
yeah, and then too, as soon as when they thought it would be hitting, they all stopped taking, tests. They stopped testing the air and
Well,
everything.
here's a big fuck you to all those people because that Fukushima playlist, go hit it on Pigmine. I'm telling you, I finished sorting it all yesterday. The 2014 still need to go up, but 2011, 2012, and 2013 are all in date order. They already knew and they reported it. Just
Mhm.
nobody spread it around and no one told anyone what to do with it. It was
Yeah.
already in 12 states by like March 16th. It
Yep.
happened on the 11th. It was in your water, your milk, your air, your strawberries. Like I saw one of our former hosts who's all about curing cancer posting something the other day about how it's okay for him to go surfing because his friend took a rad meter out to the beach and it hasn't gotten to California yet. And I was like,
Oh boy,
wow,
you're
dude,
you're
you must be
crazy.
really behind the times. And I dropped him a link from some of the stuff that I had on my Fukushima facts page that definitely stated, and oh, I know what it was. It was that one report that I read you guys a few weeks back from Diablo Canyon, which is just north of LA. They have to put out their yearly operating report. And it was showing how in the yearly operating report for 2012 and 2013, they came out matter of factly and showed it in the milk, in the groundwater, in the rain, in the air. And that was just north of LA. And that was 2012 and 2013. 2011, everyone kept it quiet. But if he's just announcing now that they're still okay in California and he can go surfing, I mean, dude, you are like 3 years behind the times. And you know what? He didn't even read what I sent him. He's like, oh, thanks, with like a smiley face with a tongue stuck out. I'm like, wow.
Wow.
Okay, I'm not going to waste my time there.
Wow. Even people that aren't awake
Well,
around
he
here,
supposedly like he does
right?
all this stuff. He's out there like preaching the story.
And then
He
he's
just
gonna go
doesn't
surfing.
get it. He doesn't get it.
Wow.
So it makes me sad when I see crap like that. Wow, Wendy connected, and now she's doing that
Yeah,
that
she's saying
thing.
she said that her Skype is all screwed up.
She got hit again. Hey,
Mhm.
Wendy, if you want, I will unforward the phones if you can hear me. I'll unforward the phones if you want to call into the number, and we could try pulling you in that way.
Oh yeah.
Or create yourself another Skype account, and we'll see if we can thwart them for a little while because that works. If you've been hit permanently, you can create another Skype account, and guess what? 99% of the time, it works.
Yeah, 'cause I had to do that one time, remember?
Yeah, I've had to do that a few times for the network.
Yeah. It's just, and yesterday, like one of my machines are in the shop, and then my other computer, it just keeps freezing up. The whole thing, I have to, power it down. And if this one starts messing up, I'm in trouble here.
Yeah, my old notebook, which was the that was my monster notebook. It was the one that I used all those years working doing engineering. So it had like every piece of software on it, and was just loaded memory hard drive. It had multiple hard drives in it. It was a beefy notebook. That has started the random shutdowns, and it has been for the last 6 months or so. So it's pretty unusable now, which is kind of sad.
Yeah, the one I have everything stored on, that's the one it's just completely locked up, and I don't use that one at all except for storage. I have like 4 hard drives in it. And it just, I don't know. It's where all of a sudden this is happening to all my machines.
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell you what. If you didn't see again, there's been another breach, and this time
Mhm.
we already watched this one coming from like a mile and a half away. JP Morgan Chase came out a few months
Mhm.
ago, and they said, oh, guess what? If we get hacked, all of these people that have money with us, their account balances could go to zero. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, somebody played some of the Microsoft Cyber Patrol stuff, and it's like, oh, all these budding threats out there, and terrorists gonna come hack our financial system. We
Now
need
they're
to.
saying what, 76 million
Well, that was just Home
breaches?
Depot, I believe,
No, this
or was
this
that
morning.
J.P. Morgan Chase?
J.P. Morgan.
Yeah, I think they had 70 million for Home Depot that happened last week. So, but the Microsoft Cyber Patrol thing had been all about, oh, we need to bring government and all of the global, alphabet agencies and all of corporate America in under our umbrella to keep you all safe. Well, a friend of mine drops me a video yesterday, and you know what? Let's play this one because I was like, you sons of bitches. The freaking Raytheon, I know that they're a public company, but I'm going to have to say, just because I don't know much about them, and I bet if I looked into them, I would be right on the money. I would have to say that half of, if not a good portion of Raytheon are probably former government contractors, I would imagine, or at least people who formerly worked for DARPA or the military, because all of their technology is geared toward that. Nanotech I just saw, but wait till you check this out, because I guess if Microsoft can't fill the hole, let me add myself to the call, and let me make sure I turned off my player. If Microsoft can't fill the hole, oh, look, everything's all locked up now.
Hi, guys.
Hey, she made it.
Oh, my God. My whole internet connection's been locking up. I thought it was Skype. It's raining here, so it seems like every time it rains, I'm losing internet connection.
That means water in a pipe.
Does it?
Yeah, honestly, I would look at that short-circuiting. We had that problem at the office for probably 5 years and had a battle with Verizon over our circuits. Every time it rained, they went down, and they said it wasn't them, and it was a pipe that water was getting into, and the insulation on the cable was a little frayed, and it was causing it to short out.
Oh, great. I'm pretty sure that's what's happening then. It's so frustrating. But yes, Raytheon is stocked full of contractors and DARPA people and people who are working in their best interests.
Is it? Because that would be my biggest guess. Yeah.
They are bastards. They're right up there with Lockheed Martin and the rest.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm sure that all of our 50+% congressmen that are now millionaires are probably all well invested as well.
Very
probably
well
sitting
invested.
on the board of directors somewhere. Who knows? I'm just saying.
Are.
Yeah, well, and I'm pretty sure they have to be. Or uncles, brothers, cousins all have nice, cushy jobs there. That's how it all works. So let me play this. This is the link that my friend sent me yesterday, and I was like, no shit. Raytheon just hopped in the game. Only got 108 views.
Cyber attacks spread fear, disrupt commerce, and leave a trail of widespread damage. Raytheon's integrated end-to-end cybersecurity solutions safeguard mission-critical systems against the widest range of internal and external threats by constantly monitoring and protecting against breach, fraud, sabotage, and theft. To withstand advanced cyber threats, it is essential to have an effective Cybersecurity Operations Center, or CSOC, that couples system architecture with persistent monitoring. Raytheon's cybersecurity operations model erects 4 pillars: establishing situational awareness, command and control, advanced analytics, and actionable threat intelligence.
Was that it?
Are you there? Am I there? I don't even know where I am.
Oh, I'm muted. Sorry. I paused it. I said, did you guys catch that? The 4 terms that they used? Those were all military command and control terms when they are launching an operation.
Right. And the name of the operation was Seesaw.
Seesaw. Yeah, what is that?
Well, what thing that comes to my mind anyway is that it's kind of like one of those like Freemasonic terms, like as above, so below type crap, where they're the ones that are actually launching all these attacks.
Well, that's what I was going to say. We have this whole NSA Cyber Patrol Center, and the guy that's now in charge was some like wingnut in the cyber intelligence in the military. Okay, the one that took over for what was his name? Alexander.
Oh yeah.
And remember, Alexander and the other dude from the airports, the former Homeland Security dude, were the ones that were telling J.P. Morgan Chase and Wall Street that they needed that they needed them to come in and keep them safe from attackers, and they wouldn't pay it. They wanted $1 million a month, remember? And they wouldn't pay it. And now J.P. Morgan Chase just gets hit with 76 million accounts.
Yeah, what a coincidence. Huh?
What a coincidence. Just as Raytheon now launches their cybersecurity operations center, I was like, no shit. And what makes me so mad, and so just like you guys having problems, we're all having problems now. And this is all bullshit. It's all bullshit because it came out way back when that they already were putting spyware on our machines. We just saw that there was a story about a week ago where they were going after one of those third-party spyware companies for tapping computers for activists. Did you see that? But it wasn't us. It was like one of the overseas companies that were doing it. So it's good for the goose, but it's not for the gander.
Of course
you guys
not.
put spyware on all of our machines, but you got someone from another country doing it, and oh my God, it's espionage.
Right. Absolutely. This is how they roll.
It just pisses me off. And I see right here, though, in the sidebar where they have the suggested videos, there's an IBM Security Operations Center, too.
Of course.
Oh.
Business machine, straight up our wazoos.
Yeah, well, they're in the middle of all this. The whole Brain Project, the whole, Nazi numbering scheme from way back when, the whole cashless society. Go IBM.
That's true.
IBM's always working in the background, you know?
They are. Absolutely.
They are. So, all right, let me play the rest of this.
Okay.
Within the complex global cyber landscape, it is critical for a CSOC to persistently monitor their information environment. For example, a group intent on civil unrest might unleash an attack aiming to create government dissatisfaction and public confusion. The Cybersecurity Operations Center is alerted, while automated analysis determines that this is a new type of threat, not previously seen, and it is malicious. Mitigation is rapidly selected and deployed, limiting its effects. Advanced analytics are engaged to determine the full attack chain and expose the full capability of the cyber threat. Integrating enriching data from the open internet, government, and proprietary sources, the system is able to turn seemingly unrelated data points into actionable intelligence.
From government, open internet, and proprietary, we can turn it into actionable intelligence. And actually, that goes right along with some of this crap I was watching this morning about is ISIS living next door?
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy, yes. Oh, boy, yes. All right, a little bit more.
For more than 30 years, Raytheon has been entrusted to design, build, and maintain resilient systems to minimize adverse impacts from cyber attacks. Raytheon ensures customers can operate confidently in cyberspace. How secure is your digital space?
Dun, 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 dun.
All our machines are freezing up and everything.
What was that?
Did you hear that?
I did.
All our machines are freezing up.
If you have a government, whatever they use, dissident, and trying to confuse the population.
Yes, they did say that. Absolutely. You want me to play that one more time at the end? Because I know when he sent this to me yesterday, it was just after the show. I sat there with my mouth open.
Right.
I was like, "You have got to be kidding me!" Here we go.
Design, build, and maintain resilient systems to minimize adverse impacts from cyber attacks. Raytheon ensures customers can operate confidently in cyberspace.
Oh, I missed it. Hold on. We got to back it up just a little bit more. I know this shit gets me, like, my face gets really hot. I get so, well, coming from this space, like, honestly, if I wanted to go back and make big freaking bucks in the marketplace, this is what I'd be doing. I can't do it, guys. I can't.
I'm surprised that they haven't approached you.
Well,
specifically Raytheon, actually.
No, not Raytheon. But I mean, I have all my contacts still. I worked in the industry for many years. I mean, we did government contracting, schools, hospitals, banks. I mean, that's what I did. I engineered all their networks. So I had friends that are like, "Hey, Jules, I got this job, man." Blah 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 blah. But I can't do it, guys. How with a good conscience could I sit there and take a big fat care paycheck and know this is what I was building?
Yeah, it's not in good conscience. Indeed.
I can't. Do you know I would probably be arrested and thrown? I mean, right now, at least I have a mask on. They don't know who I am. But if I was out there and I started yapping my mouth, I mean, I would see something and you know me. You guys know me. I just go off sometimes. That just wouldn't fly.
Jules would just disappear all
I would vanish. So... You know, it's better for me just to stay out of it and expose the bastards. Because this is like, I should post this on shit that pisses me off. Be the first post on that Facebook page. Because this really gets me mad. They are turning what we built. Okay, they might have started the internet as part of, you know, being able to exchange information between scientists, between universities, and blah, blah, blah. But even the original creator of the internet came out. I might have posted it on the Before the First Cut page. I'll have to see. Just a few days ago, and he was warning about this. They're destroying the internet by doing this right now.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. All right, here, we're going to play that ending one more time.
From the open internet, government, and proprietary sources, the system is able to turn seemingly unrelated data points into actionable intelligence. For more than 30 years, Raytheon has been entrusted to design, build, and maintain resilient systems to minimize adverse impacts from cyber attacks. Raytheon ensures customers can operate confidently in cyberspace. How secure is your digital space?
We might have missed it again, but that's enough.
Yeah, if you don't want to pay, look what happens. I mean, look at JP Morgan as an example. So, you know, pay up.
Yeah, that's blackmail on a giant freaking scale that nobody can wrap their mind around. That's why no one ever gets held accountable for this kind of crap.
Yeah. I'm just messaging Chuck. I'm on air, Chuck, so I can troubleshoot and figure out what happened after I get off air. Easier to, I can't type and talk at the same time.
That's all right.
All right, so let me check out. Now, where the hell are my posts from this morning? Because I had something that went along with that. Oh, yeah. So right on the tails of that, yes, don't they announce. And we should find that story about Alexander and Chertoff. I think that's who it was.
Chertoff, yeah.
Yeah, about approaching JP Morgan about this very thing.
Wow.
How convenient. So I guess Wall Street doesn't want to play ball with the big guys. Is that what's going on? So they threaten them, pay us our extortion $1 million a month to secure your systems. And so they didn't. And now, oh, lo and behold, look at this.
76 million breaches.
76 million. Though they didn't get any account numbers, I guess. But you know what? This was just like a screw you. Look what we're going to do. And you think this is bad? Just wait. And let's watch your stock drop like a rock.
Yeah.
I mean, these are nasty games. And they think we don't see this shit. It's just so transparent.
Massive infighting going on right now.
It is. I wish they'd all kill each other.
Yeah,
if you want to know the honest to God truth.
Thing is, they may end up freaking doing that and kill us in the process.
Take us with it. I know. That's kind of what they're doing, honestly.
It is.
Which, hey, you know, I mean, I might be for that. If it took them all down and, you know, we had to go with it, but they were all gone, I don't know. At least it might be for something. But I don't want to go down as like a freaking Ebola experiment gone bad. That's the thing.
Oh, man.
While they're all staying safe,
That's what the hell the BRICS thing's all about, too. You know what I mean? That's more infighting amongst these groups.
The BRICS banks, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like huge. And it goes and it keeps, it's like, I don't know, it just exponential grows. Like a beehive. Yeah.
All right, here, let me play this. We'll play this clip about, if I can find it now, about JP Morgan. It's very short. It's like 14 seconds.
JP Morgan Chase confirmed today that it has had a data breach affecting 76 million households and 7 million small businesses. But the bank said there is no evidence that any account information was actually stolen.
See, so there's no verification that there was any account information, but there was a breach. Oh, be careful because we're coming for you.
That's right.
Here,
if anybody had any brains at all, they'd get their freaking money out of that dang bank.
Well, think about this, though. We even looked at this when we looked at that whole story about Alexander and Chertoff. JP Morgan is the one that handles all the SNAP benefits.
Right.
What would happen if there was a SNAP benefit crash? Think about that.
Interesting.
All those people on SNAP benefits all of a sudden have nothing in their accounts. And whoa, during Katrina, none of the cards worked.
Right.
Think about that chaos.
Oh, man. And that's where it's headed.
During the Ebola crisis.
Yes. Oh, my God. And there's people out there that are like completely bedridden quadriplegics that if they didn't have that income coming in, they'd not last long.
Oh my God. Whoever wrote this story, they get an A for title. Keith, this is August 5th. Keith Alexander's cyber circle jerk gets worse.
Cyber circle jerk. Fantastic.
You get an A, Mr. Empty Wheel.
Wow.
That was awesome.
That's
pretty much what it is, too. It pretty much is what it is. And they are threatening these people now. Either get on with the team or we're taking you down because we are taking over all parts of the internet, whether it be private or public or corporate. You're becoming part of the machine. And I'm telling you, when I was director of e-business development for a number of years, guys. And the owner of my company, the reason why I had a job is because he did not want our stuff out in the cloud. And you want to know why? Because once it's in the cloud, like, of course, they're encouraging everyone to do right now, they can pick through it all.
Yep. Exactly. That's what I thought when I first heard it. I said, no way.
Yeah, we had a whole separate network, and he blew $15,000 and bought me one of those huge Cisco Pix 515 firewalls with the whole full-blown DMZ. That thing was a monster. He blew lots of money to keep our data secure.
Wow. Well, I found this article about when Keith Alexander was making that offer. And it says, in May, we wrote about how ridiculous it was that former NSA boss Keith Alexander, collect it all, Alexander, was now launching a cybersecurity consulting firm. After all, it's difficult to think of anyone who has done so much to undermine cybersecurity as Keith Alexander. Now Bloomberg is reporting that he's offering his services for the cut rate price of $1 million per month. I'll repeat that. $1 million per month. And it goes, Keith Alexander wants banks and other companies to pay him $1 million per month to help them with their cybersecurity.
Now stop. Remember, Zorie, right before that, Microsoft declared that they were ending support finally for Windows XP, which we found out then, 90% of the banks all were still running.
Using XP, right.
Yes. And they declared they were ending support. Whoops, sorry, banks.
Yep.
Yeah, so how freaking convenient is all of that? As Microsoft is running their own Cyber Patrol Center and knows where all the holes are. This is just so freaking dirty. It is a hijacking. Again.
Yes, through blackmail and extortion.
Right, in this article it goes, at that price, I'd hope that he's selling them the location of the back doors he ordered to be placed in all of their hardware and software. And the idiotic banks are apparently willing to pay rather than going with much cheaper options of hiring an actual security expert.
Yeah, like me.
Yep. Yeah.
Whoops.
It's unreal, you know.
And I'm not really even a security expert, but there were a lot of tricks that you could do. I mean, like a nice big firewall, like encryption. I mean, I was a part of that whole 2003 Graham Beach Libby, whatever it was, agreement where all the banks up until 2003, I bet you didn't know this, none of the data was encrypted.
Wow.
It was all clear text. So anyone could have tapped the wire when you were doing your banking online up until then and snagged anything. Then they required the 128-bit browser, if you remember, so you could only do your banking through Internet Explorer for a long time because that was the only one that was 128-bit encryption. But the banks themselves had to encrypt all their lines from end to end, which wasn't being done either. You know, now there's all kinds of more stuff. I mean, obviously you got operating systems, you have all kinds of ways. I mean, just an employee going to a website, you literally need to have your internal network offline and then have a DMZ and switching networks if someone's got to get online. And really what you should do is have separate PCs that are online on a desk, and then the other PC is on the internal network if you really, really want to be secure, and ban anyone from even putting in a flash drive.
Jeez,
yeah,
man.
And I was just reading about this one company. I can't remember the name of it. I just kind of skimmed over it a couple of days ago about this one company that's charging $3,000 a month, but it's supposed to be complete security. Nothing can breach it. That's coming out. I can't remember the name of it though, because I just kind of skimmed over it, and I went $3,000 a month.
Wait, what? I missed all that.
This company that's offering complete security for it's $3,000 a month, and it's encryption upon encryption upon encryption. And I'm trying to remember the name because it was a couple of days that I kind of skimmed over it. But yeah.
Well, I mean, there's all kinds of companies out there that are doing security. Keith Alexander, I mean, I think that how he's demanding his $1 million a month is because he was the dude that was actually coordinating all the hackers. Because remember, it wasn't a secret. He went to Black Hat every single year in Vegas, and he recruited the hackers.
To recruit, yeah.
Yeah, remember when they were going, why should we believe you?
Right.
Right.
You know, and then a lot of those guys, if they catch them from anonymous, they'd get them to play ball. Otherwise, they'd be sending them to jail. So you guys, you play with us and help us set up your friends.
Right.
You know, so this is all dirty. And so that's where you're going to get your $1 million a month, is because he knows all the holes and he knows what they're doing to get into your system.
And
Right,
you
and
install
it says,
the damn doors.
the article goes, the press is covering him highlight the fact that Alexander stands to profit massively from keeping big banks and other companies scared shitless.
Yeah.
So they hire him.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's massive extortion. So why why isn't he in freaking handcuffs
Well,
right
him
now?
and Chertoff. They're
Absolutely
both criminals.
Stuff.
You know, working together. Oh, my God. Talk about puke in my mouth.
And I mean, Chertoff had that cybersecurity consulting firm, even while he was working for the government.
Yeah,
You know,
Chertoff was the one
Yeah.
that had all the naked body scanners, too.
Yep.
That's
And
right.
profited
Heck
from
yeah.
all of this. They're all let's create fear, and then when you leave office, we'll slide you into a nice cushy position. I mean,
There
look
you
at
go.
what the hell's his name? The dude that was the former Prime Minister of England when Bush was in
Tony
office.
Blair.
Blair. So
yeah,
now you
Blair.
got Blair's trading desk, right,
Yes.
where he's making bazillions of dollars trading on the stock market with all the oil stocks and the Saudis,
Show
and
the
the
inside
Bushes,
information.
military industrial. Yeah, he didn't he just hit billionaire?
Yeah, I think he did.
Billionaire.
billionaire status.
How nice. So you know what? Shit, man. I'll tell you what. Daniela Walls told me that if I wanted to run for Congress, she would be here going door to door to get me on the ballot.
I'd come help too, damn it.
Yeah.
You know what? If I could use a pseudonym, I would.
Hey, why not? Obama did.
Right. Go officially change my name, keep my family and friends safe, and I'd do it, man. I would.
That's good, Zorie.
I'd wear an anonymous mask. I'd be the anonymous candidate.
Anonymous for Congress.
You know, actually, that would be awesome.
Yeah, it kind of would, wouldn't it?
Wow.
With a little V for Vendetta mask.
It would be fun. I can imagine the speeches.
Yeah, with the voice changer.
Yeah. No one would know if you're a man or a woman, but they'll vote
Right.
for you.
Oh, they'd figure it out, I'm sure.
Funny.
Pretty
That's-
quickly.
that's funny.
Oh, how messed up is that?
It's a damn good idea.
So, all
You know,
right.
and they'll turn their, if you're in those high circles up there, every single person that you know will stab you in the back the first chance they get. What a way to live. you
Yeah,
know?
that's what they do. It's true. And they're just biting each other in the back right now. I mean, how is like Alexander and Chertoff messing with J.P. Morgan? I mean, that's crazy.
Well, remember, there's that whole financial thing that's going on as well. Hold on one second. If I can get to behind the curtain. Properchick actually brought it up. And then I believe I might have heard Jack Blood mention it, but it didn't get a lot of press. Oh, look at my Ebola is mutating 300 times from person to person. I reshared that yesterday because everybody missed it the first time and the second time and the third time around. And yesterday it got 24 shares and 1,365 views. Hey, somebody really got it.
That's great.
Yay. Yeah, it was like 4 times I had to share it before someone said, holy fuck, that's really bad.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that really gets me is like that's what it seems like on the show. Like we talk about stuff way before like the general populace gets why it's important.
Right.
Gets why it's.
Right,
That's
then
why
after about a week or 2 or 3 weeks, then all of a sudden you see it all being brought out.
Yeah, then they're like, hey, didn't Jules, Wendy, and Zorie talk about that 3 weeks ago?
It's I don't know what it is. I think we're just paying attention,
Yeah,
it's not
I
that
think
hard.
That's exactly it. I think that we just we started pulling on the right threads to begin with.
Mhm.
And
Absolutely.
I got like 10 sweaters that are unraveling. Wish
Yeah.
he was hot underneath.
Oh.
He's not. He's all moldy. It smells really bad.
Oh, the dark underbelly.
Yes, the dark underbelly, and it's got bones sticking out. And Ebola.
Ugh.
Here
I
it
like
is.
you were calling
Here
him
it
yesterday.
is. So this is what I think personally they're trying to stick right up J.P. Morgan's tailpipe as a threat.
And
I
I
don't-
think they're also using it to show other banks what could happen to them if they
Yeah.
don't play ball.
Exactly. Mafia tactics.
Yep. China to start direct currency trading with the euro.
Of course. Ding, 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 ding. You're right.
Ding. The U.S. dollar now will no longer be the intermediate unit of exchange. And as they were bringing up in discussions about this, that if the dollar isn't being used for the intermediate unit of exchange, that will cause the demand for the dollar to drop. And when the
Dramatically.
demand for the dollar drops, so does the value of the dollar, like a stone.
That's right. This is all being done by design.
China will begin direct trading between its yuan currency and the euro starting on Tuesday, the National Foreign Exchange Market Operator said, as Beijing seeks to broaden the unit's global usage. The China Foreign Exchange Trade System already offers a platform for yuan, euro transactions, But direct trading means the U.S. dollar will not be used as an intermediary currency to calculate rates, according to the statement released on Monday. The market operator said the move aimed to promote bilateral trade and investment, facilitate the use of the yuan, yeah, I can never say that right, yuan, in cross-border trade and lower conversion costs. In June, China started direct trade between the yuan and the Britain's pound, one of several currencies to be included in a streamlined regime. China has also had long direct currency trade with the United States and in recent years has added Japan's yen, Australia's dollar, and the New Zealand dollar, as well as the Malaysian ringgit. Now, how interesting they're going after the whole Pacific Rim region where we're trying to get that Trans-Pacific Partnership fired up, which I got to tell you guys, I haven't seen shit in months about that.
Neither have I. But a lot of those nations are also being joining the BRICS too.
The BRICS Bank, and I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that in the South Pacific. But I don't know. I thought the BRICS Bank was mostly South American countries and then working up toward Russia. Russia was a part of it as well.
To see what Russia's going to do.
There's a lot more joining. I mean, there's more joining all the time.
Yeah, I haven't seen any updated stories on that, but maybe we should pull that for Monday and take a look and see what BRICS is doing, because that would be interesting.
And starting last Thursday, the Dow has just gone into a decline.
Well, not too bad. It's been down the last few days, and I heard them blaming it on Ebola, by the way.
Oh, no.
Prices too, yeah.
But it was over 17. I see right now it's at 16,876, and it's actually up 75, so it's only lost a few hundred points.
Yeah, well, they inflated it artificially to 17,000 on purpose so that there's some kind of cushion there between 17 and like 12 or 10.
10.
10,000.
10 would be bad. Buy.
That's right.
I don't know, though. They might just pull the whole bottom out of the whole thing.
I think that's what we're seeing. Absolutely. I think we're seeing the rug right now.
Well, remember a year and a half, 2 years ago when it just started dropping? I mean, I was watching Alex when it happened, and it was on air, and it was just dropping dramatically, man. People were just like panicking like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
That was just a little sample. I bet you anything.
And then it went back up. I was watching live that day to the stock channel at work.
Right,
and
it was dropping.
I stopped and my jaw dropped. I'm like, did you people just see what the hell just happened? It was like, it just went, I think it lost like 1,000.
It went way down. Yeah, something like
down.
Almost 1,000.
Yeah, it was almost 1,000 points just in like a minute 5 minutes.
Yeah.
No, I thought there was a stop on that now on the stock market, that if it starts to drop like that after so many points, it freezes and it takes a break.
Yeah, since that they did put that in effect, because it would have.
No, that was a while ago. They did that. That was way back, like in our big crash, and we had one in 01. And then we had one in 03, and then we had one in 08. I was in the stock market back in those days. I lost shit tons of money, but yeah, they had that from back then.
Yeah, so that's what stopped it then, because it was just dropping like a rock.
Yeah, what they say?
It stops panic is what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Was some computer glitch or something, I remember. Can't remember the reason for it.
Oh, well, that was a while ago where they said that it was a computer glitch, and I figured they'd gotten hacked.
Right.
Yeah, something happened, but it sure stopped a lot of
beta
hearts.
test.
Yeah, beta test.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. So
I have an echo.
Yeah, it's because my phone's on. I don't know why it echoes sometimes and some it doesn't. So we had gotten on a couple different things this morning. We were talking about Alexander. We were talking about cyber breaches. This is the circle jerk story. The Keith Alexander cyber circle jerk gets worse. I wanted to read this. As I noted earlier today, last year, Keith Alexander's cyber command forces got their asses handed to them by the civilians in a cyber war game. They were pretty much obliterated, said one Capitol Hill staffer who attended the exercise. The active duty team didn't even know that they had been attacked. So this must have been in reference to his cyber patrol in the NSA. Nevertheless, here is one of the things that he told Kevin Dillion in his second exclusive interview, attempting to explain why he should get rich in the private sector, capitalizing on 9 years of fear-mongering about cyber. Quote, quote, if I retired from the Army as a brain surgeon, wouldn't it be okay for me to go into private practice and make money doing brain surgery, he asked. I'm a cyber guy. Can't I go into work and do cyber stuff, unquote? Alexander's story has changed a bit since his last attempt to explain himself to Shane Harris. The number of patents he'll get expanded from 9 to 10. His firm is developing as many as 10 patents, he said, and has secured contracts with 3 clients that he declines to name. And he claims, after apparently not challenging the underlying $1 million a month claim to Harris, that his rates were always overblown. Reports of his firm charging $1 million a month for consulting services are not accurate, he said, even though he declined to disclose his firm's fees. That number has been inflated from the beginning, Alexander said. But that's not even the best bit. In addition to the revolving door shadow regulator Promotionary Financial Group, which goes unmentioned in both stories, and the Chertoff Group, Dillion reveals who gave Alexander the advice he should get rich off of serving the last 9 years in a top national security position. Someone who spent those same years in a top national security position. Who?
He just resigned.
Lawyers at NSA and his private lawyers, including former FBI Director Robert Mueller, now with Wilmer Hale Law Firm in Washington, have told him he is on firm legal footing, said Alexander. So his former freaking private lawyers and the lawyers at the NSA and the former FBI Director have all given him the green light.
Damn! Tell me
this is criminal.
It is very criminal. And you know what? They are all banking on this military, soon-to-be pharmaceutical, soon-to-be tobacco, military, industrial prison complex.
Wow.
Which they will make unbelievable bank, looting and sucking every little penny from our coffers.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, the last little bit. These exclusives are all well and nice, but both of them ignore the reports about Alexander serving as the lead to set up a private-public partnership between the banksters and the national security state to infringe on our privacy in order to keep banks safe. Heck, neither of them even mentions his known contract with SIFMA. Now, I don't know who SIFMA is, but we pointed out his little partnership, the extortion partnership. Until exclusives actually ask Alexander about the known thrust of this program, they are going to help his credibility no more than the exclusives with the same journalists explaining NSA spying did. And that was that article that we spent 3 days out of Wired reading, if you remember.
That's right.
Yeah, there was a lot that was given away in that article. And
you know, it seems like these guys get in there and they set themselves up for when they leave.
That is what they're doing. I'm sure of it.
They do
and then use extortion and fear to make people pay them money.
Yeah. I wanted to look. I just saw that there were some new uploads that happened, and one of them was something about Biden saying he's not a bitch. I caught that just in the little blink, blink, blink on the page. So hold on, I gotta go there.
I'm not a bitch.
Because we need to hear this one.
Biden
is not a bitch.
Hilarious.
So headlines, everybody.
So I don't understand how that they say that all that crap with Keith Alexander is lawful. It's not lawful. It's obviously not lawful.
It's just as bad as insider trading, guys.
It is.
It is insider trading. I mean, it's you are gaining a leg up in an industry that the people, and actually Alexander wasn't elected, he was appointed, but he was appointed by someone who elected him. So he should not be able to benefit from something that he made his living on in the public sector.
There you go.
Okay, Biden isn't a bitch. I'm going to give that one a thumbs up. Here, let's listen to this because now I have some Ebola news, something that I had heard yesterday as a possibility, and it looks like it's real. We got another tested Ebola case that's positive.
Mm-hmm.
This time it's an NBC cameraman. And I had heard a story yesterday that some of the teams that have been over there, when they came through the airport, they told them they had been in Africa, in Liberia, and no one tested them for anything, didn't even take their temperature. So these guys flew back, and now a cameraman has Ebola.
That's it. We're done.
Yeah,
right.
now they're talking about
I saw Kentucky yesterday, too. There were 2 people that were suspected.
We're done, guys.
I posted
We're done.
that. Hawaii, I haven't heard an update on that. And I got to read the story from the UN that Wendy and I, we'd gone back and forth after the show, that the UN had come out and said exactly what we've been saying about the 300-time mutation, that if it isn't airborne yet, it will be.
It will be.
But the video we watched yesterday, like I said, 1989, it already was in the lab. So
yeah, I'm glad you played that.
We'll play it again. Here, we got to listen to Biden isn't a bitch, though. Get a little bit of comic relief. If this video would, stop flicking around on me. All right, here we go.
Joe Biden says stuff. The vice president had a speaking engagement at Harvard University's Institute of Politics last night. Afterwards, a member of the student government tried to fire off a question, so listen to this.
I'm a senior at the college, and I'm the vice president of the student body here.
Isn't it a bitch? I mean,
oh, isn't it a bitch? Not, I'm not a bitch. All right, well, I thought I'm not a bitch would have been better.
Oh, my God. I guess Obama was talking to a bunch of illegals and stuff yesterday, too. And they were saying, he actually told them, no force on earth can stop us.
Right.
That's nice. Oh, I'm seeing now JP Morgan, 83 million accounts.
Oh, isn't that nice?
Going up.
76 million households and 7 million businesses now. Oh, hold on. Yeah. It's going to get
How
better.
much you want to make a bet, you can absolutely be able to trace that right back to good old Keith.
Or somebody with some knowledge.
Sure talk.
Yeah, this is lovely. All right, here we go. I got to hear this because it's just, pay attention to this one because this is if you watch all these little pieces now falling into place, like the Ebola was a couple days of panic, and we didn't hear anything about Syria. But here's the one thing I was thinking, where did Poroshenko coming over here begging us to send U.S. troops to Ukraine as the Russians were all sitting on the border? What happened to that?
Yeah.
Right.
You heard another freaking word, huh?
Yep. It's all distraction. If one doesn't hold your interest, they're going to throw another one at you.
Well, Ebola, fear. And then there's also some stories about ISIS living next door and being able to make bombs out of T-shirts. Do we play that one?
Oh, we did play that one. I said he was an old pervert.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, that was the old doctor. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, bombs out of T-shirts from the kid next door. Whoa, call 1-800, I see a terrorist. Oh, this makes me so mad. You know, I get days where I wake up and I'm like, shit, I can't do a show. I'm just too freaking beat. Until I start looking at this news and my blood pressure starts going up and I get so aggravated.
Back and forth.
We really should call this show, instead of Before the First Cup, shit that pisses me off.
There you go.
That's about what it is every day. All right, so 83 million JP Morgan Chase accounts now compromised in cyber attack.
And America's biggest bank is reeling this morning from one of the largest hack attacks in history. JP Morgan Chase says 76 million household and 7 million small business accounts were breached this summer. At first, Chase thought only 1 million accounts were involved. Anthony Mason is here. Anthony, good morning.
Good morning. What we know here is that the breach occurred in June and lasted about 2 months before the bank was able to catch it. As you mentioned, at first they thought this was relatively small. We now know it's 76 million accounts, 7 billion small business accounts. The good news, if it's relative here, is that only user contact information appears to have been taken. That means names, addresses, phone numbers, emails. Chase says there is no evidence that account numbers, passwords, or social security numbers were taken. The bank has seen no unusual fraud also as yet.
How is this different from retailers being hacked?
Well, I mean, first of all, this is a bank, so there's more sensitive information here. And one thing that's particularly alarming is that the hackers got deep into the JP Morgan system before they were able to catch this. Now, JP Morgan Chase is spending $250 million a year on security and has 1,000 people connected to it, and this still happens.
That's what's really scary. Everybody knows this might come, somebody is after them.
Yep.
Who do they think is behind?
Well, the suspicion all along in this case, as well as it may go back to Russia, and this may have been done for reasons of disruption, less than for theft. But, you know, that hasn't been proven yet. That's the active suspicion. And consumers have got to be really careful here. I mean, I got a letter from my bank after the Home Depot case saying I'm going to get a new credit card. Even before I got that credit card, my account was hacked. You have got to monitor your account and the charges very closely, even small charges. The thief who took my card charged $2.75 Coca-Colas. Why would they do that? To test and see whether the charge gets through.
Wow.
And then they'll use it beyond that. So the banks are being very aggressive about this, but you have to be vigilant too, because it's happening.
Be vigilant.
Thanks, Andy.
You know, and what he neglected to mention is if they get your credit card number and start charging that shit, you're not liable for it anyway. It's the bank that's liable for it, but they're going to blame it on Russia.
Well, no, you know what? He's right. It is Russian. It's freaking Michael Chertoff.
There you
Bingo,
go.
KGB, son of a bitch. It is Russian.
Wait, I didn't
yeah,
know
it's
Chertoff
Russian.
was KGB. Where'd that come from?
You kidding? You didn't know Chertoff was KGB?
No, I never saw that before.
Yeah, he was KGB.
And we got that info from where?
I can't remember. I heard that years ago. I can't remember where I heard it.
And it's been verified? I mean, I try not to, I see some stories just searching this. Ex-KGB and Stasi chief works under Chertoff. I don't see that Chertoff was KGB. Somebody was working under him that was former KGB.
Okay.
Do a quick search of KGB and Chertoff. That's what all the stories say.
Okay.
Even from 2009, 2010,
all right.
2014.
Okay.
I've never seen that, and I've paid attention. But regardless, they've been trying to blame shit on the Russian hackers forever. Now, I'm not going to say that Russia doesn't have, I mean, we had issues with the Slavic, I don't remember which region it was, but one of those former Russian nations, the company that I worked for, we got hacked by one of them. And those .ru websites, any website with an extension .ru instead of .com, be careful because there's malware out there, okay? There is a huge Russian hacking contingent that typically is tied to the Russian mob, okay? So that's well known. But the fact that they blame this on Russian hackers or they blame it on Chinese hackers, and a lot of the Chinese hackers are actually in with the Chinese government, you know, that's just an easy out. That is a scapegoat. Because what do you see when you search Keith Alexander and JP Morgan Chase and this hack, which, by the way, happened over the summer and we're just finding out about now? How interesting is that? Ex-NSA Chief Keith Alexander says JP Morgan hack proves that the U.S. financial system is vulnerable. Just like the dude said in the story, like when your credit card number gets stolen, you will typically see that. You'll see one or two little charges for a few dollars on your credit card to make sure that the credit card is still good. And then you know what happens to your credit card number? It goes for sale online to the highest bidder, okay, as an open line of credit. That's what happens. But how interesting that all they got were account names. And they didn't, if they got deep into the system, which you would have to get to the business system, why didn't they get to that account information? Right? Especially if it had been open for months on end. So it almost seems to me like it was, look what we can do. Look how this is going to hurt you. We got all these names, and don't think we couldn't get the rest of the information. I want $1 million a month to secure your system.
$1 million a month.
That's what I'm thinking. An August cyber attack that resulted in the successful theft of gigs of data from JP Morgan Chase proves that the U.S. financial sector is dangerously vulnerable, said Keith Alexander. Yeah, he's just ramping up business for his new company.
Absolutely. Which makes me think that he's the one, and his little firm is the one creating all this chaos.
Well, right. And they just did just a toe in the water to say, look at what we can do. And if you don't go with us, then we'll do more.
Right.
Russian hackers. All right. So we're going to get to, actually, I wanted to take a look at some of the newest Ebola news. So we're going to look at this NBC reporter because this bothers me. You absolutely, I saw about this cameraman, and they had said, hey, we're coming from Africa, and nobody in an airport even screened them for anything. But here's a link about that family, Duncan's family. Do you know, I saw too, those people have been living now in this apartment as they've been quarantined, right? We brought up about the vomit yesterday when he puked when he left. They've been living in a contaminated apartment all this time. They just sent a cleanup crew now to go start decontaminating the apartment.
Remember yesterday when you were saying that they were cleaning up the schools? What were they to?
The custodians with a bleach spray bottle.
I saw that there was two guys in a little hazmat suit with buckets.
Oh, you're kidding! I was.
I'm not. I saw the clip. I saw the clip. I'm like, oh my God, Jules was right.
Oh, I was just kind of envisioning, because schools are so half-assed to begin with, and how they do things. That isn't even funny.
I know. I screamed when I saw it.
Wow. So, well, then I hope those people do pull all their kids out of school, because that's pretty frightening.
Fox News.
Oh, yeah. There you go. All right. So, family in Texas with Ebola's apartment is now quarantined.
In Dallas this morning, a woman linked to another Ebola patient says she's tired of being quarantined. Eric Duncan is the first person to be diagnosed with Ebola in the United States.
Authorities ordered 4 people not to leave the apartment where Duncan stayed before he was hospitalized. And Wilbur Horkus is in Dallas, where the hospital treating Duncan says it figured out how he originally slipped through the cracks. Momo, good morning.
Good morning. Texas Health Presbyterian Hospital says a flaw in the way electronic records interacted between the nurse who questioned Duncan and the doctor who treated him led to the miscommunication, which allowed Duncan to go home after his first visit to the ER last week. They say the flaw has now been fixed, but the fallout is far from over. The apartment where 4 people are under quarantine was assessed for decontamination by hazmat crews on Thursday. This is where Thomas Eric Duncan was staying before being admitted to the hospital and diagnosed with Ebola. Parts of the complex were power washed and food and necessities were delivered. One of the residents who has been quarantined came out briefly to bring the supplies inside. Wilfred Smallwood is Duncan's half-brother. His 21-year-old son is one of the people inside this apartment.
Everything okay, so we have food, everything's okay, we're here, we are fine.
Access to the apartment complex has been limited to law enforcement, health workers, and the people who live there.
Could you imagine being one of the people who live there?
Yeah.
Why
Oh,
aren't
my
these
God.
people being quarantined in a facility? Why are they in an apartment where you have, perhaps an apartment above you and below you and on each side?
Yeah.
Hello? What the fuck?
And I mean, the thing is like this guy did test positive. It's not even like he, is suspected.
Right.
Yeah, this is insane.
This
is
is
insane.
beyond the freaking pale obvious.
And could you imagine being one of the people that lived in that apartment complex? Like, what liability does the apartment owner have? He should be putting these people up in a hotel somewhere else.
Oh, I would want to get the hell out of there, like the first
Yesterday.
sign.
If you're already exposed, then you're just going to go out and expose more
All
people.
share the same damn ventilation system. Hello.
Hey, how about, like, we went down to the Coke machine in the lobby and pushed it before we knew, and so did 32 other people in the
Oh,
complex.
yeah. Yeah, wow.
Holy crap.
Oh, my God.
I saw yesterday that number, too, got jacked up from 80 to 100, by the way, and I'm still scrolling. There were just new videos that went up now, so I'm still looking at what's going up here, but...
Tomorrow will be 200. You know what I mean? It's
Well,
just...
and whatever happened to Kentucky? Actually, I got to find out if there was any more news about Kentucky. I saw that last night. There were 2 people now that were put, I guess they were put in quarantine. They're being watched now. All right, let me play the rest of this.
Ali Nuran is the property manager.
We have different nationalities. We have different language barriers that we are trying to work with.
David Bouza is upset that testing hasn't been extended to more residents.
Everybody should be diagnosed here.
You should be screened.
Me and everybody who lives here.
And
Yes.
that happened.
It doesn't happen.
Texas health officials say the number of people who had direct or indirect contact with Duncan has grown to approximately 100. That includes 3 more children who were removed from school on Thursday. Duncan remains in isolation at this Texas hospital. But if he recovers, he could face legal problems in his home country. Liberian officials released a copy of the passenger health screening form Duncan filled out before boarding his flight from Liberia to the U.S.
Yeah, by the way, we didn't talk about this because we didn't know about this yesterday when we did the show, but he lied on his application.
Yeah. I read
And,
that.
how many other people are doing the same thing?
Oh, my God.
And one of the things they were suggesting as a motivation for lying is because if he made it to this country and got sick, he would hope to have better health care than he would in Liberia.
More to the point, though, how many people are getting paid to do this crap, too?
Well, we don't know that, but I don't know about getting paid. I mean, I would talk more about fear. If you were in Africa and this outbreak was going on, wouldn't you want it like GTFO?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd be like, hell no, I'm not staying here. They'll
And
at least
that's why
put
they
me
should
in
be
quarantine.
screening. All these flights are just canceling all the flights
Cancel.
coming in.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was a doctor who came out a few days ago who said, absolutely, if we're going to continue to have flights coming in from Africa, every single person that comes in from Africa should have to go into a 21-day quarantine
Exactly.
before they come into this country. Sorry,
But they're not.
And they're not. No, they're not. But we had all the illegals come in. We didn't test anybody, and we put them up in freaking establishments.
Yeah, and Obama says, the borders, we have facilities set up to check. Well, yeah, you know what? People are coming across, they don't even know how many a day.
Yeah, I want to play one of those clips from last week that we never got to. Over 70% of those people have just vanished, by the way.
Yep.
Vanished.
Thin air.
Thin air, vanished.
They're put on buses to other states with a little sheet of paper that says when they're supposed to report to immigration, and none of them are reporting.
No. Well, usually their freaking hearings are like 3 years from now.
This is multi-pronged. This is an assault right now on the United States, people. If you look at all the different things going on and then what's going on overseas, we are being assaulted.
Flat
and
out.
we're just sitting here all scared.
It's just like Waco. This is not an assault. This is not
We
an
have
assault.
no protection at all.
Yeah, we don't. Nobody's gun's going to protect you against Ebola.
No.
Guys, we are being assaulted, and I hate to say it, but I really think that this, I don't want to be a fear monger, and I'm trying to keep myself like all chilled out and keep a level head about all this, but absolutely situational awareness. Keep your eyes open and be ready because
Too many
we
things
are
happening.
being assaulted.
Yeah,
on
too many
every
things
front.
are happening on every front. Right. That this can't be a coincidence.
No,
All
this
this.
is like a big fat zit that's boiling.
We've been saying the same shit
We
for
have.
months,
But
and
now
we're
they are
seeing-
pushing it to the nth degree as we're coming to the end of Q4.
That's right. That's right. The end of Q4.
Yeah. Profits for the end of year. Do. That's why I don't think the stock market's going to crash, because they all need to cash out first.
Yeah. Well, enjoy this Christmas, because this seems like going to be the last normal Christmas we'll ever have.
We say that every year, though.
No,
and it continues on because, the retail complex.
But there's just so much more going on now than there was.
There is. It is ramped up to the point of, like, it's standing on the mountaintop screaming right now. If people don't see that there's something wrong with this picture right now, there's something wrong with them. Like, get off the fluoride.
I mean, even mainstream is saying it, so there,
But mainstream is also having to clear their stories with the CIA. That's come out quite a few times now in the last few weeks. So, the CIA wants you to know that you're supposed to be afraid.
Right.
All right, here, we're going to play the rest of this.
They believe he lied when he answered no to questions asking if he had contact with anyone infected with Ebola. Liberian officials say Duncan tried to help transport a sick neighbor to the hospital just days earlier. That woman later died from Ebola.
He's gone there and sort of, in a way, put some Americans in a state of fear.
It's unclear whether Duncan knew the woman he helped was infected with Ebola, but Liberian officials believe he did and say they plan to prosecute him. He remains in serious condition here. Charlie?
So there you go. I mean, they had to, send a hazmat crew, to clean the apartment. But you heard that resident saying they are not testing one of those people in the apartment complex. Just like now I had heard they had said multiple times that they weren't going to find any of those people on the planes, the 3 planes that he had been on. Mm-hmm. Then I heard something last night that they were tracking them down. But now these people are already a week. I think he flew in on the 19th.
Right.
The 19th.
That's it. It's
now the 3rd. So they've been floating around for over 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's it, you guys. I mean, it's it. That's all she wrote.
That's all they had to do was let it go for a few weeks to percolate. So now it's like in every country on the planet. And didn't we read that shit at the fan story like 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago about like ground zero and what it would take for it to spread around the globe? And it wasn't very long at all.
No, and it hasn't been very long either.
Mm-mm. All right.
And they're still handing out visas to people in these countries.
Yeah, I don't think that they still have stepped anything up. I haven't seen anything. Here, I want to listen to now this NBC cameraman testing positive. That was something I heard yesterday that the crews had come out and said nobody even asked us. And we told them we'd been in Africa. They didn't even take our temperature.
Right.
And here we go. So he is actually the now 5th American to test positive. That's what it says in the notes. So I guess we missed like 3 others. So let's find out where all those were.
Well, those were the docs that they had in and flown to various facilities.
Were they? Because I thought those were already 5. There were 5 doctors that had been brought back here. I don't know. Let's hear, because I'm not sure.
A freelance cameraman is the 5th American citizen to test positive for Ebola. A private jet will bring him to the United States for treatment. 33-year-old Ashoka Mukpo was diagnosed Thursday. He had just started working with an NBC News crew in Liberia.
The network says Mukpo's condition was caught very early. The rest of that crew in Liberia will also return to the U.S. to be quarantined for 21 days. None of them have shown any Ebola symptoms.
20 days from now, we're going to start to see it just spreading like wildfire here.
Did you hear when you were offline, Wendy, about the fact that 2 days ago I had mentioned that the one chick from CNN, when asked standing outside the Presbyterian Hospital about the vaccine, she had, just in kind of an offhanded way, had said that there was no vaccine left.
Oh.
And then yesterday there was a big story saying, no, we don't have any vaccine left. It's going to be a few months now before we can ramp this up. Nope, there isn't any.
Whoopsie, it's all been used up, perhaps by, like I said, the Obama cabinet.
Well, I don't know where it got used up. I mean, they're saying that they only had a little bit, but there were all these other companies that have been working on this, and this isn't a new thing that they just started on. It already was in phase 3 trials ready to be tried on humans, and they sent it to Oxford University and had people injected with it. Techmira was not the only company that was making an Ebola vaccine. I'll have to look if I actually posted that story on before the first cup. I had done all that research about all the companies that were making Ebola vaccines, but I don't know if it was
Wasn't there 5 of them?
There's 4 or 5. I saw that.
Yeah, there were a bunch. There were a
Fox
bunch.
News yesterday.
And
Yeah,
they had been working on it with that genetically modified tobacco. And I mean, we're going back to 2006 with the universal flu vaccine, and it's all this RNAi technology. So I'm going to call bullshit on that. Not that any of us would be lining up to get it, but all the other people can line up to get it. I don't care. Go for it.
Yeah, they didn't all just run
out of
all
it
at the same time.
Yeah. So I don't know, because I would think, too, that they'd be sitting there itching to bank on this shit. So is this like, how all of a sudden when we have a hurricane, whoops, we have a gas shortage and all the prices go up 10,000 times?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that what it's going to be? Only the rich can afford it? The rich who don't vaccinate their kids to begin with, which we're going to find that one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hold on. I just posted that one this morning, which it's kind of interesting, like in LA where they don't vaccinate their kids. This is where we started.
What the hell's going on?
Lower vaccination rates than in Africa, by the way.
Tonight, Ebola emergency on 2 major health emergencies.
An outbreak of fear as America deals with Ebola for the first time.
An outbreak of fear. And see, I really wonder, and I'm kind of on the fence here, but I really wonder if fear, of course, is the one thing that they have instilled in us since 9/11, right? We even looked at some of the mind control experiments that came out. Oh, coincidentally, right before all this happened, they had published some of those mind control experiments with part of the Brain Project in DARPA, right?
Right.
How fear was that button where they could remove and insert memories into the brain.
That's right.
Wow, how surprising is that? And right after that, we had ISIS appear and beheadings with, Boy Scout knives and black boxes covering that.
Right.
And notice now how that's kind of all just kind of gone under the rug. We're not seeing any more beheadings because now there's no more fear factor. People are like, okay, well, we're used to beheadings, so that's not working.
Right, let's go on to something else.
Right, Ebola. All right, so here.
The enterovirus, a respiratory infection striking children and paralyzing some.
And that's the other one, this enterovirus, which coincidentally has not raised its ugly head in the United States since 1968, just mysteriously reappears. Kids start getting it all over. I think the last I had seen was like 13 or 14 states. It's probably more by now. And now they're thinking it's paralyzing kids. And there was a child who died in Rhode Island yesterday or the day before. So, that's the one thing they always told us. If they really wanted to put fear into the hearts of Americans, they go after our children.
They always go
That's
after
right.
the children.
Yes.
Reminder
Child sacrifice.
when disease ravaged the population. Days long gone.
The Salk vaccine works.
And forgotten. Across Los Angeles' wealthiest neighborhoods, state data shows child vaccination rates here lower than rates in developing nations in Africa.
It worries me that if there is an outbreak of anything, it will be here.
These moms both vaccinated their children as recommended by the CDC. But just a few blocks away at the Westside Waldorf School, the California Department of Public Health says only 21% of its preschoolers are up to date with vaccinations. 21%. Compare that to the entire nation of Liberia, which has a 72% vaccination rate. It's a dangerous trend. The richer you are, the less likely you are to vaccinate.
It's actually an alarm call, absolutely.
The result, according to pediatric infectious disease specialist Dr. Deborah Lehman, Los Angeles is now in the middle of an epidemic. The LA County Public Health Department says cases of pertussis, or whooping cough, have more than doubled in just the last 2 years.
We do see pockets of pertussis disease outbreaks, especially in areas where there's higher personal declination for vaccines.
The biggest pockets, Malibu and Santa Monica, where Dr. Dolly Weisserman is a pediatrician. She was shocked by something she'd never seen before.
Many cases of pertussis, many more than I'd ever seen anywhere.
It's not the poor communities where there's a vaccine issue. It's the wealthy communities.
Now, do you see what this is ramping up?
Oh, yes, it's so clear.
Yeah, it's very clear. So now let's turn around and point the finger at all these bad parents that don't believe in vaccines anymore because, guys, vaccines are the only way to protect yourselves.
Anti-vaxxers.
Yes, those bad anti-vaxxers. And you know it's going to come to that. We already read that in the civilian internee manual that if you are unvaccinated and there is an emergency in this country where there is a pandemic, you, the unvaccinated person, are the risk to the rest of the vaccinated people, and you will be vaccinated against your will. And it did say that in the manual.
That's right. That's right.
And that was from intelligence.net, right? Isn't that where they have all those FOIA documents? That absolutely 100% was in there. I read it with my own two eyes, and we read it on
martial law and that NDAA clause that I read yesterday.
So maybe one of the reasons why they just don't have any vaccine yet is because they're not at the point where they're going to force vaccinations, which, of course, will fast-track it through the FDA and give them millions and millions of human cases now that they could follow around and watch and see how it works on the humans.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's not up yet to the point where it's percolated to where people will be lining up, and those who aren't lining up will be forced to get it.
Man, this is this seditious thing.
But you can see it being building up to that. I mean, it's blatant.
Yeah, and all you rich people, you're terrorists as well, because now it's all your fault that my kid's getting sick. But didn't they discover that a lot of those kids, there was that huge pertussis outbreak up in the upper Midwest, and they had shown how all those kids that got really sick actually got the vaccine?
Yeah, and they'll never say that. They will never, ever, ever say that. It's actually the vaccines giving it to the kids.
Right.
But it's the anti-vaxxers that need to be vaccinated.
Yeah.
So this is the psychological operation.
And eventually, I mean, JJ already ran into this. His doctor had said that if they didn't get vaccinated, he wasn't going to see them.
Right, I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
That was about, a year ago?
Yeah, and that was his doctor that he's had, since he was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, so here, and you know what? You better believe there's probably some back-end funding going on there. They got to show their vaccination rates for how many of their, they have to be at 90%. This is just a guess, but I'm going to say, 90% for all of your patients to have vaccines to get kickbacks.
Yep.
Because that's the first thing they ask you if you go to visit a doctor is what's your vaccination history.
Yeah, when was the last time you got your tetanus? I'm like, less than 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. Oh,
I always say that. Less than 10 years ago, yeah. I mean, unless I step on a big fat rusty nail, I'm not going to go volunteer that shit. All right, here.
Are being validated because they're seeing either so many celebrities or so many of their friends in the community who also have a similar mindset, and then it validates what they think.
She calls it the West Side bubble, choosing to not follow the government's vaccination schedule. Choices being supported by pediatricians like Dr. Jay Gordon.
I think the more information you have about vaccinating, the less likely you are to follow the 6 vaccine at a time schedule.
Dr. Gordon supports some vaccines, but says many are ineffective. He also argues the CDC acts like a bully, pushing too many vaccines at once.
Wow, I wonder if he's going to get run out of practice.
Yeah, or disappear or something. Yeah.
To come out, or have a horrible accident.
Or get sick by Ebola. Mm.
Yeah, or run into a tree at 120 miles an hour while he's at a red light.
Yeah.
He says none of his patients vaccinate on the CDC schedule.
Isn't that inherently selfish?
Yes. I'm encouraging parents to make a decision that they feel is best for their children while considering public health.
Do you feel...
Wow, make a decision that's best for your children. That
All on
makes
your
you,
own, even.
yeah, all on your own. Because you're just, most of the time you're too stupid to know what's good for your kid.
Right.
All right.
That's sad but true, though.
It is sad but true.
You're endangering the public health.
No. If vaccines work and everybody else is vaccinated, then there's no risk to them.
Yeah, I know, that's so logical.
What?
Well, if you don't get your kids vaccinated, you're going to endanger mine that was vaccinated. Well, if yours was vaccinated, how could the unvaccinated harm them?
Right. There should be no danger then. It's only my kid that's in danger.
Right.
And I'm taking that risk because I feel that it's best for my child. I mean, I don't get it.
But just like she said, well, aren't you endangering the other children?
Public health?
No, if they're vaccinated. Yeah. So.
All right, here. I'll play the rest of this.
Schedule is widely criticized by public health leaders.
And when parents or healthcare providers make up their own schedules, they're really they're practicing medicine that's not tested.
Parents who don't vaccinate were reluctant to talk to CNN, but it's a big debate among them. And moms who vaccinate their children fear they'll all end up paying.
We're all in this community together, and, you don't want any type of outbreak happening.
Because then it's too late. Kyung Law, CNN, Santa Monica, California.
But I thought that's why they vaccinated, so if there's an outbreak, their child won't be affected.
No.
Oh, so now, did they just say that now the anti-vaxxers are now practicing medicine by not? Oh, that's real. What a wonderful label that is.
Yeah. No, what she was saying, Zorie, is that whole community actually doesn't vaccinate. And so if there is an outbreak of something that none of them are vaccinated for, they will all end up paying because they'll all get it without having vaccines.
Oh, I see.
But I mean, like chicken pox. So what? Yes. Don't get the chicken pox vaccine because guess what?
Look,
I didn't have one and I had chicken pox. And they convinced me to get my kid the chicken pox vaccine. And guess what? My kid got chicken pox.
Yep. Yeah, they go, well, if they do get it, they'll get a less severe case. So, you know what? It's all a big.
It's color
scam.
of law. It's color of wording. It's color of. It's all a bunch of bullshit. It's a dog and pony show.
It is. All right. Before we get to ISIS, I still want to. Let me disconnect this. I don't know why it does this sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. I want to talk about a couple things. So we looked at the Ebola, the story out of Australia that had said that Ebola was mutating 300 times between hosts, and said that, with that rate of mutation, that there's a good chance that at some point, even though it isn't airborne, it may become airborne. So then the UN came out yesterday and pretty much echoed that exact same sentiment. And where is it? It was right here. Oh, come on. I was looking at it and then I scrolled and that's what happens. It just goes poof. So we'll do some music. Do 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 do. All right, here's the Ebola story, but geez. There's 9/11 story. Hold on. Here's the Kentucky story. There were 2 people in Kentucky. Here's the hazmat guy, which Zorie talked about that off of Zero Hedge. What the hell? Did my story disappear? I literally just saw it. We're going to do some here we go. Here we go.
Yeah.
United Nations.
Oh, there we go.
And yeah. And hey, I even think there might be a story with this. The spread of Ebola in 90 seconds. Ebola could become airborne. United Nations warns of nightmare scenario as virus spreads to the U.S. Yes. There is a nightmare chance of the Ebola virus could become airborne if the epidemic is not brought under control fast enough. The chief of the UN's Ebola mission has warned Anthony Banbury, the Secretary General's special representative, said that aid workers are racing against time to bring the epidemic under control in case the Ebola virus mutates and becomes even harder to deal with. The longer it moves around in human hosts in the virulent melting pot that is West Africa, the more chances increase that it could mutate, he told The Telegraph. It is a nightmare scenario that could become airborne, and though unlikely, it cannot be ruled out. He admitted that the international community has been a bit late, quote unquote, to respond to the epidemic, but that it was not too late and that the aid workers needed to hit Ebola hard to rein in the disease. He was speaking shortly before the first Ebola diagnosis was made in the U.S. on Tuesday. The man who contracted it was in Liberia. We know about his whole story. Mr. Banbury, who has served in the UN since 1988, said that the epidemic was the worst disaster he has ever witnessed. Quote, "We have never seen anything like this in a career working with these kinds of situations, wars and natural disasters. I have never, ever seen anything as serious or as dangerous or as high risk as this one." I have heard other people saying this as well, senior figures who are not being alarmist, and behind closed doors, they are saying that they have never, ever seen anything as bad. However, he added that the UN now has the political will and most of the materials it needs to bring the epidemic under control. Yeah, I think the cat's out of the bag.
It's always the first time they've seen this.
Well, and it's the worst ever, and it's blah, blah, blah. This, though, I mean, they let it get out.
Yeah.
They were behind the ball. We've been watching this since March, and no one's been doing shit.
Right.
Right.
Here, maybe we can watch this 90-second. I don't know. I'll kill it if it's not anything, if it's nothing that we haven't heard already. But maybe it's something new. Ebola in 90 seconds. I mean, how can you go wrong with that? Oh, but it's an ad, so we'll just talk over the top of it. Da, 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 da. All right, there we go. Maybe. Good music.
Yeah, I like that.
Mind control music.
Yeah. And you know what? It's just text sliding across. They're showing people getting hosed off, their shoes getting cleaned off as they walk into buildings, but it's like a slideshow, so that's not going to give us anything.
But the music was good.
The music was good. All right, and so I did post something. Biopharma companies race to develop an Ebola vaccine, and actually this story was one from maybe a month ago. Let me see here. Biopharma companies race to develop Ebola vaccine. This is from August 12th. And what's interesting, too, is that all the content is copyrighted. You cannot even copy or paste out of this document.
Oh.
Yeah. And you know what? I'll drop this for you guys. I even might have back when we talked about this when it first came out. As the death toll from the world's most expansive Ebola outbreak nears 1,000, which now it's near 4,000, multiple companies are stepping up efforts to bring antibodies and other vaccines to human trials, though no one seems to be ready until 2015 at the earliest.
So, they're going to have to give them carte blanche on no prosecutions, no nothing, so we can get it out there. Don't even got to test it. We'll be the guinea pig.
That's going to be the fast track. Exactly. That's exactly what I was saying. We already saw them pull that shit during the swine flu. They did that exact same thing. That's how they opened the doors and they got the squalene vaccine that was never approved for human use in the United States, but was in Europe, through the door and into our kids.
Yep, and now they're doing the same scenario. They always do the same scenario over and over and over.
Mm-hmm.
That's right, Zorie.
Okay, so over the weekend, and so this was August 12th, Spain announced it imported a few doses of biopharmaceutical ZMapp, which is that was what that secret serum was, by the way, to treat a priest who was brought in from Liberia to Madrid. The priest is the third human to receive the unapproved treatment, which is a cocktail of 3 monocular antibodies that is manufactured using tobacco plants. I've told you guys about that.
There it goes.
By the Kentucky Bioprocessing. Now remember, this is all DARPA funded. We talked about this long ago, and it's doing the RNAi vaccine, and it is in GMO tobacco. Okay? This is all, they're all connected. And, Monsanto is all invested in this as well because that exact same technology is part of their GMO 2.0. And I posted stories about that GMO 2.0 on Before the First Cup as well. If you go to ucy.tv/BTFC underneath the chat, I think I put my top 30 stories there from that feed if you don't have Facebook, so you can catch those stories there. Read about it.
Gates and all his money is involved with
$50 million now.
Yeah.
Well, even in the Ebola vaccine. But yes, Gates was also invested in Monsanto as well. And malaria and everything else. The malaria goats, remember? And now they're Dengog mosquitoes they're releasing all over to get rid of that Dengog fever. Okay, so a U.S. FDA spokeswoman, Stephanie Yao, told BioPharmaReporter.com that, this is the website I'm reading this from, that the agency was not involved in the shipment of treatment to Africa through the FDA. Though the FDA does have procedures in place to permit, in appropriate circumstances, emergency use in individual patients under an emergency. Isn't that what we talked about?
Martial law.
And it's the IND plan, investigational new drug. In other cases, exports of investigational drugs may be permitted without an IND as long as they meet export requirements under the law. ZMapp seems to be the unapproved antibody cocktail of choice so far. However, several other companies are ramping up the development of their Ebola treatments as the WHO convened a special committee meeting on Monday to discuss whether it is ethical to use unproved treatments with unknown side effects. And remember...
Unethical?
Yeah, unethical. I had posted a few stories that, and I think we even read it, about the ethics of using these RNA vaccinations when, we are literally changing DNA in people. There are no studies done anywhere long-term about how this is not only going to affect us, but our future generations. And they have proven that GMOs 1.0 already have an epigenetic effect where it is passed down through generations, just like Agent Orange does. And remember, guys, these guys have all been in on this for a long time. Agent Orange was also another Monsanto creation.
That's right.
Sure was.
None of the developmental treatments are likely to be ready until 2015, although the U.S. FDA recently modified a hold placed on a phase 1 clinical trial for Tecmira. Didn't I talk about them? Tecmira Pharmaceuticals' anti-Ebola virus RNAi therapeutic known as TKM Ebola. So there you go, people. That's exactly what that secret serum was. I called it. Not one publication. Nobody. I still don't hear them talk. Nobody. There is nobody talking about what the technology is behind this shit.
You've been talking about it for months and
for months. Not even good old AJ. I have not heard him talk about this at all. I don't hear anyone, even in the GMO, Monsanto, March, people talking about it. I've been sounding this alarm. Look into it. I know it's hard to understand, but do some reading and put on your thinking cap because you will be freaking horrified.
Well, Brandon Tuberville wrote that fantastic article about it.
Yes, because Brandon likes when I send him stuff.
That's right.
Yes.
He actually looks at it.
He is my voice. Nobody is listening. Nobody is listening. Nobody is listening. Jump up and down and scream because we played that clip multiple times. There will be a new form of human in less than 30 years. How do you think they're going to do that?
Absolutely.
This is it, people. This is what we're not seeing. This is what's under the covers, and this is what they're getting ready to launch on humanity.
Like I said, they're terraforming the planet for something that it's not
They
us.
are. This is going to be human 2.0. Isn't that what she said?
That's right. So this Ebola thing is no freaking accident.
No, and all these companies have it sitting right in queue waiting for human trials. What are the chances?
tested on the population.
And it was all DARPA funded. All of this, it happened. They started this Blue Angel program with the universal flu vaccine at Texas A&M University with DARPA funding in the tobacco.
And
that they told us about.
Involved in almost every university.
They are. They absolutely are. The other Ebola vaccine that they were doing was over in Europe, and DARPA was funding that as well, people.
Mm-hmm.
And this has been since 2006, because they told us about this in 2006, along with everything else. The illegals dressed as illegals as terrorists coming across the border. They trained us for pandemics. This has all been out there. This was all under Bush's reign. They were talking about all of this.
Yes.
Didn't we have Dickie Cheney pop his ugly head up just recently talking about nukes?
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Throwing a couple of nukes on top of all this stuff. That's it.
Yeah, that's chaos. Yep, EMPs. Whoops, no internet. Oh my God. TKM Ebola is being developed under a $140 million contract with the U.S. Department of Defense's Medical Countermeasure Systems Biodefense Therapeutic Joint Product Management Office. Did you hear that? U.S. Department of Defense's Medical Countermeasure Systems Biodefense Therapeutics Joint Product Management Office, and early preclinical studies demonstrates a 100% protection in non-human primates from an otherwise lethal dose of the virus. Sarepta Therapeutics has also been working on an RNAi therapeutics to treat Ebola since 2010 with the Department of Defense. The company claims that it has up to 24 courses of treatment, though it also has not received any requests to use the medication, according to the Boston Globe. GlaxoSmithKline, meanwhile, is also developing an Ebola vaccine, which it hopes to be ready next year and is slated to undergo phase 1 testing soon, the company said. But regardless of how many treatments are in the company's pipelines, and even if African countries begin requesting these unapproved treatments, there does not seem to be any company that can ramp up production and manufacture quickly enough to meet demands of the epidemic. However, listen to this, Texas A&M has a facility that could help in ramping up production.
Of course.
You get a gold freaking star for doing all your homework in the last year, because they were the ones that started Blue Angel. I'm telling you guys, if there is anybody who has paid attention to this shit, it's me, because this shit really gets me freaking fired up. It's so underhanded. DARPA is my red button, and they've been in the middle of all this. And anything that DARPA touches, run away screaming.
Absolutely.
Gerald Parker, VP for Public Health Preparedness and Response at Texas A&M Health Science Center and Principal Investigator of the Texas A&M Center for Innovation and Advanced Development and Manufacturing, told us, yes, the Texas A&M Center for Innovation in Advanced Development and Manufacturing is one such center that would have the capability to scale up development and manufacturing efforts on vaccines and some therapeutics for the Ebola virus. We would need to coordinate and collaborate with any potential company, university, and or researcher with an Ebola vaccine candidate to determine the technology readiness level of their vaccine and accelerated advanced development. We do have the capability to provide development and manufacturing core services for diverse vaccine platform technologies using flexible and adaptable manufacturing capabilities. Remember, Hecty had sent us the videos showing how all this genetic modification that they're doing is as easy as freaking .NET programming now.
Yep.
It's just a chunk here and a chunk there on a computer screen. Boop, 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 boop. You move them around and hit go, and it starts making itself.
Yep. There you have it.
These types of vaccines include live virus vaccines, inactivated viral vaccines, and virus-like particles. Remember I talked about those
VLP.
Little VLP patented suckers that are in the HPV vaccine. So go, Texas A&M, and how convenient that the first case of Ebola in the United States happens to be in Texas.
Dallas. Right where Texas A&M is, isn't it?
I don't know. Is it in Dallas? It's in Texas. It's in the same state.
Same state.
Oh, my God. My face is burning hot now.
Ouch. Yeah, I can tell.
Let's see. Where is Texas?
It's on fire.
A and M. I know it's somewhere near there. Where is it? College Station, Texas. So where the hell is that? College Station, Texas is one of our many Texas friends out there. San Antonio. Close enough. Close enough.
Oh, my God.
And,
I wonder. All by accident that this all happened.
I wonder where the Blue Angel program is, though, because, they actually do have facilities in different locations besides just the campus.
Oh, sure.
Of course, when you search Blue Angel, it comes up with the flyers, but I'm not talking about the flyer program. Search on the live for Blue Angel program at DARPA. DARPA speeds up efforts. Here we go. DoD funding. This is 2013. This story is from defense.gov. October 16th, so just about 2 years ago, 1 year ago, the Defense Department has contributed core capabilities to a national center funded as a public-private partnership by the Department of Health and Human Services to enhance U.S. response to infectious disease, to biological, chemical, radiological, and nuclear threats. The HHS, Texas A&M Center for Innovation and Advanced Development and Manufacturing, is a response in part to pandemics such as the 2009-2010 H1N1 flu, for which traditional biomanufacturing methods took 26 weeks. According to expert witnesses, before the House Armed Services Committee in Intelligence hearing, we need to be able to respond to emerging threats and capabilities. Some kinds of advances in biomanufacturing processes and DNA technologies have lowered the bars for states and even in individuals who seek to produce biological weapons. So,
how can you be a public-private company?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of that going on now in the universities.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, schools.
This dude, too, that's in charge of Texas A&M Center, and I read the story originally when this first came out. His Greerwar is his name. Work at the Texas A&M Center for Innovation began in 2008 after 9 years at DARPA. And during his first 5 years, he was a member of the Defense Sciences Research Council. Guys, this has all been planned.
And notice how
now all this Texas A&M shit, DoD shit is all going to be pulled out. All these companies now don't have anything ready, but what? DARPA might. Just-in-time manufacturing. Well, guess what, people? We are out of time. And we never even got to everything. I wanted to play the clip about will the U.S. ban travel from Ebola hotspots. Maybe we can get through it in the last minute and 15. Let's see. Maybe. How long is it? It's 4 minutes. So we can get through a minute and 10 seconds.
Go for it.
Well, as we all know, you can go 21 days when you have Ebola before you get symptoms. So theoretically, you could get on a plane. And if you're not going to be honest on a questionnaire, that opens the door to what just happened right now. Does that mean anybody getting on that plane should be quarantined for 21 days or travel should be banned altogether?
No, I don't think so. Not at all. I spent my career, Aaron, looking at risk and assessing risk around the world on issues like terrorism and issues like the one you're seeing today. Let's get away from hysteria and talk about facts. Country of 330 million people, we've got a couple of infections. In 2012, 2013, the United States, 170 plus people in this country died from the common flu.
Mm-hmm. All right, we got to stop it, guys. So I guess they're not, huh? That's what that tells me. All right, everyone. Awesome hanging out with you this Friday. Everyone have a great weekend. Thank you so much for being on, ladies. Make sure you guys all stick around because it is Friday night. So anything that you missed, we have LaVon on tonight, live at 11. We have Josh on at 6. Mr. John Stokes, Jack Blood, Dr. Simon's replay, Brandon's replay, and Daniela's. So everyone have a great weekend. We'll catch up with you on Monday. Stay safe, everybody. Keep your eyes open. I'm going to drop those articles in the chat.
Great